Welcome to Color Me Impressed. Today I'm going to be doing the About Me tag while I'm working in Fall Friends by Deborah Muller. I thought this would be a good tag for me to do since I'm new to the coloring community and I'd like you to get to know me. So I'll be doing this picture and coloring it hopefully how I look, only a little bit cuter. And I'm going to be using the Creative Companion by Ruby Charm Colors. This is just what I'm using as my swatch book, and I also have some other notes, such as my coloring log, things like that. So if you haven't seen this book, you'll see the different types of swatches that you can do in here. I actually discovered this through Karen at Zucchini Kitty, so I'll leave a link to her channel below, as well as to this book. And right now I'm going to pick a color for my skin tone here, probably that baby skin pink. So this will give you a good sense of what I sort of look like, since I generally don't post pictures of myself or go on camera, except when I accidentally hit the video chat button in Instagram DMs, since I am old and lame and accidentally do that a lot. So I'm gonna be speeding up the video here just so we're not here for 3 days. And while you watch me color, I will be answering the questions to the About Me tag. So the first question is, what is your name? My name is Emily, and my nickname is M, although not very many people call me that unless it's, my close friends and family. Do I like my name is question number 3. I do like my name now. I used to not like it as much. I thought I wasn't an Emily, but I've come to like it over time. I do have a theory that a lot of Emilys are blonde and I'm brunette, so I don't know. I always thought that was why I wasn't an Emily. But moving right along here, question number 4. When is your birthday? My birthday is May 21st. So I'm continuing to color the skin here. And then I will be choosing colors for the hair. I am going to choose 2 brown colors, a darker brown and then a lighter brown. I'll probably go first with the lighter brown. I think that's chamois color. And then once that's dry, I'll go back over some of the strands with the darker raw umber color to give it some depth and the illusion of highlights and lowlights. It's kind of a technique I like to use when I'm working with alcohol markers. So then question number 5, what are your 3 favorite colors? I definitely think green is my favorite color, all shades of green. And then I do really like grays. And I think gold is another one of my favorites, especially to use in coloring pages. Question number 6, what are your 3 favorite quotes? I am not a huge quote person, partially because I have a terrible memory and can't recall that type of information, but I do have a few dumb phrases that I say from time to time, one of them being color me impressed. And then I also say yeehaw a lot, much to the embarrassment of my friends and family. Those are the only things I can think of, and it's not really quotes. But moving right along here. Question 7 is, what is your favorite show, TV, YouTube, or movie? Well, my partner is actually a film critic, so we tend to watch a lot of things here in my household. Right now, I've been really obsessed with baking and cooking shows, so I've been really into The Great British Bake Off, Paul Hollywood, Holler at Your Girl. And I've also been watching a lot of Barefoot Contessa. I love me some Ina Garten. And then outside of the cooking and baking shows, I have always really loved Supernatural. It's been on for quite a while. I think it's the last season this year. So I've been going through that show again, rewatching it. Now here I am going to pick a color for my eyes. So I'm going to go with kind of a poo green color, which is sort of what my eyes look like, real attractive. And then I'm also going to pick kind of a pale gray color for the eyeshadow and maybe a light pink or taupe color for the lips. So going back to the question about my favorite shows, I kind of answered that. In terms of YouTube, I obviously watch a lot of Colortube, and then I can't possibly pick a favorite movie, but I've been really into horror movies lately. Question number 8, what are 3 qualities you like in a best friend? Sometimes I feel like these are all the same. Obviously you want your friend to be a good person. But I would say good sense of humor is the top priority in a friend of mine. I don't think I'm that funny, but I like when other people are funny. And I kind of have a weird sense of humor, so that's important to me. Also, honesty is really important to me, unless I ask you something like, I don't want a real answer to, then don't be honest with me. And then I would think the last quality I would really like in a best friend is loyalty and reliability, since I tend to aim for that, to be that type of friend to others. So then here I'm coloring the blanket in, I believe it's the same color as I did the lips. It's looking a little more orangey brown on screen than it is in person. But it's more of like a blush color. Kind of going for fall colors here, obviously, with the fall scene. So next I'm going to color the pumpkin. I don't know why I'm looking so hard at all of the colors, because obviously I'm going to be coloring the pumpkin orange. There you go. And once I'm done coloring the pumpkin, I will eventually go back and use my colorless blender in between the sections of the pumpkin, just to, again, try to add the illusion of highlights on the pumpkin. And then next, I'm going to color the sidewalk a light gray color. And what I'm going to do in each section is go over the entire light gray color with my colorless blender. I find that gives a good sense of that material being weathered or a little bit marbled, giving it more depth. I find especially with larger areas, coloring it with alcohol markers, it can tend to look a little one-dimensional. So I will go over with the colorless blender just to make it a little bit more realistic and provide more interest there. So once I'm done coloring some of this, I will kind of skip ahead just so that we aren't here all day watching me color cement. Question number 9 is a tough one. What is your dream? I don't think I have a good, a major thing that I'm aiming for in life. I guess it's just generally to be happy, which is easier said than done, especially in this day and age. But, I think what makes me happy is kind of changing every day. So I think that's why that dream is still not quite within reach yet. In the short term, I think my dream would be to get to know more people in the coloring community and improve my skills, of course, with coloring, especially with alcohol markers, which are a more unfamiliar medium for me, but also improve my skills with recording video and audio and editing, that sort of thing. So now here's where I am going back over the pumpkin with the colorless blender and shaking the camera a lot. Sorry. So now I'm going back over the hair with the raw umber. That was the darker shade of brown. And this is going to, again, provide the illusion of some low light and some shadow, give the hair a little bit more depth. So I'll go over some individual strands with that darker color, as you see. Question number 10, do you wear makeup? The short answer is yes, I do wear makeup, but right now I am not very often wearing makeup just because I'm home most of the time and there's not a need to wear any. Occasionally, if I have to go on a video call for work or something like that, I might throw on some mascara. But I'm not great at makeup. Sometimes I've watched videos and things like that where I'll try some things out and I incorporate that into my makeup. But I think for the most part, my makeup is pretty basic when I do wear it. Over time, I feel like I've started wearing more makeup just because I feel like I need to cover more things up now. But I don't want to start wearing so much makeup that I don't look like myself, or I especially don't want to do some of the things like false eyelashes or contouring because I'm scared that I think I will look a lot better and then I won't be able to not do those things, So I do wear makeup, not now, usually, and I'm not very good at it. Still going at it with the hair. There's no rhyme or reason to any of the strands I'm picking. I'm just kind of going with my gut, seeing what looks the best. I'm not really using any light theory here or anything like that. I'm kind of just doing it a bit randomly and making sure there's kind of a balanced amount of the different colors. Nothing too crazy. All right, question number 11. What makes you cry? So I'm a very easy crier. I'm kind of just an emotional person in general. I would say I cry at sad things and happy things. I like to think of myself as an empathetic person. So if I see something that I think that would make a person sad or something like that, I tend to cry, especially, sappy things on TV, sentimental cards, a cute family moment somewhere will probably make me cry. So now I'm going back over the pumpkin with a darker shade of orange in the crevices and at the top and the bottom, providing more shadow on that pumpkin there. I'm really focusing on that pumpkin. Question number 12, what makes you angry? Well, in addition to being an easy crier, I am also very quick to anger. I have a really bad temper, so a lot of things make me angry, but things that make me truly mad, are probably bigotry, closely followed in second place by ignorance. All right, so I'm surveying the picture here. I know I want to start coloring the leaves. And I think for the leaves, what I'm going to do is go in with this pale yellow tan color. I believe it's raw silk. So I'll color all of the leaves, just like a base coat of this pale yellow color. And then I'll go back in randomly with some oranges and reds, some browns, some darker yellows to make the leaves look mottled and, dying off. And I will sometimes go through with the bullet nib of the colorless blender and once I've placed all the colors down, to kind of mix those colors more, almost making it look messy and kind of how nature would have created it. It's a little bit hard for me to do something that's not uniform. So my leaves kind of look a little funky towards the end, but I think generally that technique works for leaves. So that's what I'm going to do. Question number 13. What makes you happy? That's a tough one because I don't consider myself a very depressed person, but I'm definitely a pessimistic person. So I don't know if a lot of things make me happy, but I think a lot of things definitely make me content, and help me relax because I tend to have pretty bad anxiety. So I think those things would obviously be coloring and reading and, getting some time to myself. I tend to get burnt out pretty easily with social situations. So I think those make me happy, along with just spending time with my partner and watching various things. I mentioned horror movies. We like to watch a lot of horror movies together. And I also like to play a lot of games. So computer games, video games, that type of thing. I like to do that with my partner. We have a lot of fun with that. The next question. What is fangirling? So really quickly here, I'm looking at my swatches. And I think what I'm going to do is go in to do the sky. I chose kind of a very, very faint blue-gray color. I believe it was blue-gray 1. So I do cut over some of this in just a second because watching somebody color a sky can sometimes seem like watching paint dry. So you'll see me skip over to the finished sky very shortly. So going back to the question, what is fangirling? I think this question's kind of confusing. I don't know if I'm supposed to define it or say what makes me fangirl. I will tell you I'm not into the gendered way that word is phrased, but I would say when you're into fandoms, you tend to get really excited and obsessed with them. I would say that's probably fangirling, fanboying, whatever you want to call it. And just so all of our bases are covered, I do have a couple fandoms. I have really liked Harry Potter for a large portion of my life. I have more complicated feelings towards it now, and I am kind of taking a break from Harry Potter given all of the J.K. Rowling stuff that's been happening lately, and, going back to how I really don't like bigotry. Taking a step back from that there. But I have liked Harry Potter for a long time. I also mentioned Supernatural, the TV show, is one of my fandoms. I'm sure there are others, but I can't think of any, but I do tend to get obsessed with a lot of different things and fangirl over them. So here I am coloring in the branches. Very exciting. I think I'm just using that lighter brown shade that I used in the hair. You can tell I didn't really want to color the leaves because I left those to last pretty much. But also I think I wanted to, just in case I got any colors from the sky or the branches on the leaves, that I could go over them with whatever other colors I would be coloring the leaves. Question number 15. What are your 3 favorite snacks? Anything sweet, really. Cookies, candy, that type of thing. I'm not a huge fan of cake, but I think you can twist my arm for some cake. And then I think I like pretzels and popcorn, that type of thing. And then I really like fruit. So strawberries, other berries, apples. Question number 16. What are your 3 favorite foods? This is an easy one. Pizza, as long as it's Chicago-style deep dish. Tacos, and French fries. All of these things I'm eating less of lately because I've been trying to eat healthier, so I miss those foods. Number 17, what are your 3 favorite drinks? Love me some water, gotta have coffee, and then on occasion when I'm feeling like eating and drinking junk, I'll probably have some sort of pop like Coke Zero or Sprite. Number 18, tell us about yourself. 10 random facts. Oh my gosh, 10 random facts? I can't even think of one. I was always the type of person when you do icebreakers and things like that. They would say like, oh, come up with 2 facts about yourself that are truth and 1 that's a lie. And I was so much better at coming up with a lie. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe that's a random fact about myself. I'm a good liar. Not really, though. Oh, boy. All right, so here I think I'm just picking all the colors for my leaves. I took a very long time choosing all of these colors for whatever reason. All right, I'm thinking of my random facts. I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and count those as random facts. I live in Chicago. I work in marketing at a large newspaper in Chicago. I am half Mexican, but I don't speak Spanish. Not for want of trying, though. What else? I really have been enjoying playing with Legos lately. I sound like such a loser. But building Legos with my partner has been super fun during the pandemic especially. So we've been enjoying doing that. Let's see, I went to college at a small liberal arts school in Wisconsin. That's why I kind of have that nasally Midwestern voice. I apologize. I think that's enough for now. I guess The only other thing is that, when I was younger, I hoped to grow up to be some sort of writer or editor. So, for a time, I did major in English in college. I worked for my school newspaper. Then out of college, I worked at a digital publishing company. And then, kind of took a break from that to do more marketing-based stuff at an agency. And now I am back at a newspaper, but also still using the marketing stuff. So, kind of using everything that I've learned over the years. So I do really like my job right now. How lame is it that, I'm trying to tell you about myself and all I can think about is telling you about work? That tells you how insanely boring I am. All right, I think that's enough of the random facts. Question number 19. What are 3 fun things you like to do? I feel like this goes back to what makes me happy, but coloring, that's a newly acquired fun thing that I like to do. Of course, I grew up coloring and I really enjoyed coloring even up to college, I would say. And then I kind of forgot about coloring until the pandemic. So that is a newly fun thing for me to do, along with reading. I really enjoy fantasy, historical fiction, those types of things. And the last fun thing I like to do is, I guess, play games, as I mentioned before. I think I am still coloring the leaves, huh? Very exciting. All right, question 20. What best describes where you live? Well, I mentioned I live in Chicago, so it is metropolitan. Pretty liberal. I don't live right downtown, but I do live in a high-rise apartment building. There are a lot of elderly people that live in my building, so I do like to make friends with a few of the people who live on my floor and help them with some of their household stuff, I guess, if I can. All right, question 21. What is your crafty style? I don't think I have a very characteristic style yet. Probably the best way to describe the type of coloring I do is just a series of covering up my mistakes or things that I don't like. So, for instance, here I was just going over the pumpkin with, I think, a lighter orange, just because when I was going over it with a colorless blender, it kind of ended up a little bit washed out. So I wanted to kind of tone down some of the white space that came from that colorless blender. So yeah, crafty style, still learning what my particular style is, but definitely a series of covering up my mistakes, especially with glitter. Love it. Question 22. What is your most used crafty tool? Well, when I first started adult coloring, I always thought I was a pencil artist. That's what I was most comfortable with. After a certain point when you're younger and you're coloring, you probably start with crayons and water-based markers, things like that. But then you tend to stick with colored pencils for a long time. So I definitely started with colored pencils, and then after watching so many great colorists on YouTube, I started becoming more into alcohol markers. So I would say I've definitely been using a lot of my Cali Art alcohol markers recently, just because they obviously go quicker than colored pencils. They provide that vibrant color that you want for a lot of things. And then, you can still layer things on top. You can put colored pencil over it, or, gel pens, things like that. So I have been going more towards the alcohol markers lately. Still coloring the leaves and shaking the camera a lot. Let's see. Question number 23. What is your most wished for crafty tool? That's a good one. I've been trying not to want other things because I'm so bad at using all of the things that I do have already. Not that I have much, but I would say I really want to try Colortube's. I've seen so many cool effects that people can get using the Colortube's, and I had tried briefly at the beginning of my coloring journey to use these Crayola oil pastels that were water soluble, but didn't really work out super great. I don't know. I probably wasn't using them right, or maybe it was the low budget quality. But yeah, I would love to try the Colortubes just to see if that's something that I would enjoy doing, because I really like them for backgrounds that people do. I think also I would love to try some of the Jane Davenport pastels. I have always really liked using pastels. And at first they were intimidating to me because I saw a lot of people using chalk pastels and, like carving off some with a knife and all of this. And it really frightened me. But then I saw, you can use more of the palette pastels. So I would definitely like to try some of those. In the interims, when I want to kind of create that sort of effect that a pastel has, I have been using eyeshadow. Pretty cool. Question 24. What is your favorite craft brand? Again, I feel like I'm pretty new to this coloring community, so I don't know if I have a favorite craft brand. I really like to try a bunch of things, but I would say even though I'm using my alcohol markers a lot, I have been just in love with the Polychromos colored pencils. So I would say for now, let's say Faber-Castell. Question 25. What is your favorite craft? Well, I think it's pretty obvious since I started a coloring channel that I love coloring. But if you kind of extend this question out to other crafts and hobbies, things like that, I don't really do too many other crafts. Of course, I've tried a bunch of things. I have done some diamond painting in the recent past. I also like painting with acrylic paints. And I do really like working in my happy planner with washi tape and stickers and things like that. And I think that's about it. Question 26. Do you have any pets? I don't currently live with any pets, but I have had 3 family dogs. One of them passed away a few years ago, and then I had to put down one of the family dogs during pandemic, and that was not fun. It's been rough. So, no pun intended. Oh my God. So, we do just have one family dog left named Billy, who's just a sweetheart, but he is definitely getting up there in age, and he lives with my mom. All right, question 27. When is your favorite time to craft? I don't know if I have a particular favorite time, but I would say I usually color after work in the evenings. And I really like coloring kind of in the mid-afternoon on the weekends when, my partner and I are kind of in the same room, but not necessarily doing something together, but just being in each other's company. So I really like that. So let's go with weekend mid-afternoon as my favorite time to craft. Question 28. Do you have a favorite non-crafty YouTube channel? I mainly watch Colortube. I have been watching some, I don't know what you'd call it, planner tube? People who do planner stuff on YouTube. But something that I've actually gotten into during quarantine are ASMR videos. Not really like the brushing and tapping on the microphone type of stuff, but more like relaxing cafe music or something, and you have a picture of a cafe with ambient noise, stuff like that I've been into, with the sound of rain. I really like having that on in the background when I'm reading, sometimes when I'm coloring if I'm not watching other Colortube videos. And then I've also been into, I guess it's in the same vein as ASMR, but videos that have kind of these sleep music, beats for sleeping, things like that I'll put on before bed. Question number 29, in the final stretch here with the questions. What is your favorite store? Ooh, that's a tough one. I love shopping, especially online shopping. I would say, right now I've been ordering a lot from Amazon and Etsy. Good options. And then I do really like Target. Such a basic answer, but Target's so great. I worked there in high school and college, so I have a soft spot for Target, and it's a good company. All right, finally finished the leaves, and now I am going through with just the black marker over the outdoor furniture, the table, and the chair. And the reason I'm using black is, well, I actually just want to cover up the polka dots in the chair because, I don't know, I've had a vendetta against polka dots recently for whatever reason. I just don't want them in the picture. So I'm going to cover those up with the black, just since you won't really be able to see a ton through the black marker. And then right now I'm looking for colors for the grass, I believe, behind her. So I chose two colors again, trying to give a little bit more contrast and depth to the picture. So I'm gonna go with the lighter green over those blades of grass. And then I'll go back over with a darker color more towards the sidewalk. It's funny because I realized I kind of colored this like she is sitting at the edge of a cliff because there's just completely sky behind her. There's nothing else. But you know what? That sounds lovely. She might be on a mountain enjoying a cup of coffee while she's reading her book. We'll go with that. Getting back to the questions. Question number 30, what is your favorite restaurant? Oh, it's so hard for me to pick one. Well, it's important for you to know with this question that I'm a vegetarian, so anything super meaty, not my thing, obviously. But I really do love pizza. It might be a local pizza place of mine that's a favorite restaurant, or I do really like a local Mexican restaurant as well that do these amazing tofu tacos. So I'm trying to think if I like any more chain restaurants, something that others would know. Olive Garden, Italian food. Can't go wrong with that. I'm sure, anyone who's into super authentic Italian food probably isn't too keen on that, but Olive Garden is good when you're in a pinch. And I do really like this other local Italian restaurant in the city. So I like to support more of the local restaurants versus the larger chains. But, I recognize that I obviously have a lot more access to those types of things. So here I did go back to the chair and I'm finally covering up the polka dots. Now, the issue that I'm going to run into with the black is, I did want to cover some of that, but I am losing some of the detail with the lines and stuff that gives it more shape and makes it look slightly more three-dimensional. So I'm going to have to go back and, maybe with a Posca pen or something, add in some light shining, or giving the indication anyway that that's what's happening. So in retrospect, I might not have done a black. Maybe I could have done a dark gray so I could still see some of those things, but oh well. All right, question number 31. What is your favorite magazine? I used to subscribe to so many magazines and I would never read them and I would feel guilty. I could never catch up. For the longest time, I subscribed to The New Yorker. What else? Just kind of like, HGTV, Better Homes and Gardens, things like that. And even the ones that aren't as text heavy as The New Yorker, it was still really hard for me to keep up with. So I don't subscribe to any magazines anymore, other than I did recently subscribe to Coloring Heaven. So I have mixed feelings about it because sometimes, you'll get issues that just aren't your thing. And so I think I've gotten four issues of Coloring Heaven so far. I got the Busy World special, which was very intricate, very heavily grayscaled. Not my thing at all, although I can definitely appreciate the art. And then I got a Fantasy Cat special, and I'm not a huge cat person, so I wasn't into that one. But then I got the Halloween special, which I really do like. And then recently got the Zodiac special, which I also really like. So far, it's been a 50% hit rate, so I might keep it. I know the Christmas special is coming up, but I would say that's the hard part about Coloring Heaven is you can't please everybody. So, yeah, and I think that's, hard when you're paying for something to color in and you don't like it. So, we'll see about that. That was a little bit of a long rant, sorry. Now I'm going in I'm actually going in with the exact same color that I used for the sky, but I'm going along the lines of the clouds just to give it some shadow, make it pop out from the page a little more, but not anything super dark. I didn't even go one color darker. I just used the same color, so it's just layering essentially. And then once I'm done outlining here, I will probably go over the black lines of the clouds with a white Posca pen just to drive it home that these are clouds and that she's sitting on the edge of a cliff. Not in a scary way, though. So then I'm also coloring the mug in one of the same greens that I used for the grass. I tend to be very focused on matching all of the colors in a picture, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously you want things to coordinate in your picture, but I don't know if I'm super happy with the green color choice, but it all ends up fine. All right, back to the questions. Question number 32. Who is your favorite author? Ooh, that one's tough. I haven't done a ton of reading in 2020. Definitely more than I did last year because, the pandemic and commuting, things like that. I did read a bit more, but I would say, one author that I always pick up their new book is named Naomi Novik. She does one of my favorite books called Uprooted. It's a YA fantasy novel. Another one kind of in the same world, but not quite. It's called Spinning Silver. She has a new book out in November, or maybe it was October, actually. I already received it. So Naomi Novik, she's a really great writer that I enjoy. So let's go with her. So I colored all of the flowers. I'm assuming they're mums, but I didn't bother to look at a reference photo or anything like that, so I'm kind of just going off of memory here. And I colored them in similar colors to the leaves, just trying to go again with that fall color palette of those rich oranges, reds, and yellows. So I colored those 3 flowers, and then I'm going back with my colorless blender again to lighten up the middle of the petals, because I could have sworn that mums kind of look like that. If they don't, oops. But it is making them seem a little less one-dimensional, a little less one color. And on the petals, I did outline each petal with kind of a darker coordinating color as well. So you'll see I don't do too much blending necessarily. It's kind of just layering other colors on top of each other and using the colorless blender more as an eraser, which I learned from Nikki in Niagara. When I first got the colorless blender, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I thought you could really only do blending, so I tried that, and it always kind of looked a little odd, a little bit, washed out, which is then when I heard her say something about it being an eraser, I said, oh, okay, I can kind of use that to take off some color if I don't want it to look as flat. So you'll see me using the colorless blender a lot when I am doing marker work. All right, so I answered the favorite author question. Question number 33, what are your favorite shoes? Huh. And I wonder if that's brand or type. I don't know. I really like boots, ankle boots. Those are good. I haven't got a huge opportunity to wear them this year because I've been inside so much, but I do have slipper boots that I wear a lot. So I would say I'm really into like fall/winter boots. And I'm not a huge name brand person when it comes to clothes or shoes. I tend to buy a lot of my shoes from a plus size store called Torrid. But I have, I have a pair of Nikes that are super comfortable. But then my actual favorite shoes during quarantine are these pair of slide sandals that I got at Walmart like last summer that have a bunch of glitter all over them. And even though I love glitter and my coloring, I actually don't wear a ton of super flashy things. But these glitter sandals, I'm telling you, they're so comfortable and they're so cute. All right, so back to my chair here. I did this kind of dark wine red color for that chair, making it look like a cushion there. And then I'm going to do that same color for the book of poems that's on the ground. Again, kind of going still with those deep autumn colors and trying to scatter them around the page. All right, I talked about my shoes for too long. The final question for the Get to Know Me tag, what is your favorite time of year? Now, I think I already answered this in another video, but I really do love fall. I swear I loved fall before everyone else did. I mean, granted, there's only 4 choices probably for people who experience all the seasons, but I definitely liked fall since I was a child, not just when pumpkin spice lattes came out, okay? I'm sounding more bitter than I intended. But I do love fall. I love the brisk weather. And, you still get some good weather days. But I do like the overcast days, too, and some of the rain and things. And the opportunity to wear big, cozy sweaters and scarves and my fall boots. So here I am going over some of the strands of hair again so that it's not quite so like chunky 2000s highlights. So I believe I'm going over the strands that I had already gone over with the raw umber. And I'm going over them just one more time, one more layer, so that it's more than just 2 colors in the hair at this point. It's a little bit hard to tell on the camera, but they are various shades of brown now. And then I did leave a few of the lighter strands just for more visual interest. Let's see. I then took out one of my dual-tipped water-based markers, and I'm using the fine liner, and I'm creating like little lines in the irises and circling the outside of the eye just to make it so that it looks a little bit more realistic and that there's 2 shades in the eye. And then I decided that the lips were a little too light, so I went over with another layer. And you'll see I'm kind of doing the finishing touches at this point on the picture with my markers. I colored the necklace. I'm, again, darkening some of the hair behind the head for more shadow. And now I'm going to go in with my gel pens. I'm just using the Clear Stardust Sakura Jelly Roll for the eyeshadow. I just went over that gray color. And then here I'm using a green glitter marker. This is just a water-based glitter marker from Target, the Homemade Modern brand. I hadn't tried it before, but I really like them. They work similar to most other glitter markers. You shake them, and then you have to prime them before you put any color down. But I'm using that to go over the mug, just to add some little glitter here and there, and because I don't know if I wanted it to specifically say fall. So I'm covering up that wording a little bit. Now I'm using my Posca to go over those lines in the clouds that I mentioned before. And I don't know if I'm using the Posca wrong, but sometimes I feel like it doesn't quite put on a thick enough layer. So you'll see me go over it a few times. I'm probably using it wrong. I think I could have also benefited from a larger tip on this Posca pen. I do have several different sizes, and I'm using the smaller one, so maybe a larger tip would have helped here. But I was too lazy. So I don't know if I finished my rant on my favorite time of year. I think I did. I like all of the fall vibes, the things that we love to attribute to being basic. I love the fall drinks, cider, pumpkin carving, walking on the crunchy leaves. So that's part of the reason why I chose this picture to be coloring when I'm telling you about myself, because it kind of has a lot of my favorite things in it, Sitting, drinking coffee, doing nothing, reading during fall. What's not to like? So then, just finishing up the clouds here, and then I'm going to use the white Posca to add some kind of light shining glare type of thing on the eyes. And then I will also add in some of, what I removed when I went over with the black markers. So some of those lines that were on the outdoor furniture to look like there's light shining. Again, I'm not using any sort of light theory here. I'm just kind of putting lines in places where it seemed like it's a good idea. And then this is something I've been into lately, is going over the lines of some of the other things that aren't just in the background. So here I just went over the tank top with the white Posca, just the lines of the tank top, so it seemed like it was more of a white tank top as opposed to, a line art version of a tank top. And then I'm just going back in with the silver metallic jelly roll pen for some of the other background items. And I feel like we don't talk about these embellishments enough, but they really, truly make pages pop. And sometimes I feel like I'm cheating when I'm coloring and using these things to finish off the page, because it really does elevate it. So here I'm being extra again. See, this is the problem. when I use gel pen is that I go overboard. So I am going with the copper metallic jelly roll, and I'm going over all the lines in the blanket because the color of the gel pen actually really closely matches the color of the blanket, and I thought it would look kind of cool to cover up some of those lines. So this is something I can very easily get carried away on and cover up a bunch of the lines. I do think it creates a really cool effect on certain things. So I think I'm going to continue this technique, but I need to rein it in at a certain point. This didn't need it, but it just looks so cool. And I love using gel pen. All right, so I fast forwarded through the rest of outlining the blankets and the chair cushion. I'm just putting the finishing touches on the makeup. And I want to thank you so much for spending time getting to know me. I know this is a long video, but I had so much fun answering the prompts. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, click the notifications bell, and leave a comment letting me know some random fact about yourself.